Okay, let's sketch and paint this beautiful reference photo from Tbilisi. I took this photo and I'm so happy I finally got around to sketching and painting it. The challenge is I wanted to use only these three colors, the indigo, this caput color, which is like a beautiful dark purple, and ochre yellow. That's it. Is I wanted to stick to a specific color palette so I don't confuse myself, to be able to shade and be a bit more daring with my colors. Although the end result is a bit harsh, you will see it, but I really love how this one turned out. So I wanted to get my perspective lines and the perspective correct for this sketch. So you'll see that there was a lot of time spent using pencil. I actually spent quite a bit of time in this. It was challenging, but it was very enjoyable. I think I spent about an hour sketching this. And here I tried to do some romantic candle lighting and, for the ambiance, but the candlelight fire was way too crazy for today. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep that there to, for laughs. So here I was building the dome. I was sketching the dome. And I'm just gonna speed up through here, but what I was trying to do is trying to get the under sketch as accurate as possible, keeping circumspect to the different the vanishing point is all the way on the left there, so you can see that the building lines to converge somewhere on the left there, so everything is going to one side, and this is a very nice initial painting or / sketch for beginners. But there's also another more hidden vanishing point to the right where the rooftops kind of converge to. So this is where I was kind of a bit, trying to figure it out. It was quite enjoyable actually. So, and also I figured out, it would be nice for you to tell me also if anyone is, anyone of you is an expert, where I went wrong and how I could improve myself next time regarding this initial sketch. So I didn't know if I wanted to first sketch it out, because my main the main thing I wanted to do today was work with the colors themselves and just experiment with the colors. So initially I was supposed to just go in with the colors, but then I was like, okay, I need to at least sketch it out. And so the sketch actually turned out pretty nice. And then I thought to myself, well, am I gonna add ink on top of this? Or is it just gonna be like with a pencil and then, because I really just wanted to play around with colors mainly. But I'm really glad I went in with as much detail as I did with the pencil. And I decided purposefully to leave that building there on the far left, that blue one, with as less detail as possible and focus as much detail as I wanted to. Like I wanted your eye or my eye to come to the middle mostly. Or maybe I was just being lazy, because again, I have ADHD. I want to get this done with, as fast as possible while still maintaining a sense of, it's a nice-ish painting. So I think this is where I was ready for the ink. And again, I was debating here whether to go in with ink or just straight with the water, with the wash. But then I was like, you know what, I'm not professional enough to start with the wash. Like, what am I even doing? I haven't really painted. I've done watercolor before with urban sketching, but it was just washes of color, blues and reds and greens, never ochres and indigo and this other color. Like I wanted to experiment with light washes, and then what they say, there's like coffee consistency, tea consistency, then there's butter and I don't know what. So I'm like, I want to experiment with all these different textures, and then also overlaying the ochre, and then, you know, the indigo on top of that, and just create the green from mixing the ochre with the indigo, etc., etc. So here I was just like, okay, let me just, you know, add some rough lines, and now I decided to go in with the wash. So I went in with just straight up ochre for the clouds, you know, and just soften the edges with another brush. And so many different artists that have different techniques on how they do the clouds, and I love all of their techniques. And you know, but you just need to kind of figure it out your own. Here I just kind of messed it up, so I decided to try again. I like that water paint is forgiving initially. Like if the paint is still wet, you can remove it, which, especially if it's a lighter wash. But once you go in with the darker buttery consistencies, then it's really hard to fix, but then it's okay. So just kind of I decided to mix in a bit of that purple, let's just call it purple for now, with I believe it was a bit of that ochre yellow to kind of get that, or like just a very light wash of water just to kind of get that grayish, purplish illusion of, you know, I'm so glad there wasn't any blue in this the sky. I just wanted it, you know. Yeah, here, like, I just used the ruler to create this pavement, you know, straight, you know, straight line. I know I could have done it without the ruler, but I honestly wanted the line as crisp as possible, so I liked how that turned out. Again, I'm experimenting here, trying new things, going for things I usually don't go for, and this is where things started to get interesting. So I decided to go in heavy with this yellow ochre, and you know, and here I made some a greenish color using the ochre and the indigo, because I didn't want to go into my green. I just wanted to use these three colors that I initially. Here I used a very light, you know, the same indigo color, but I put it with so much water, so it became a very light, I don't know, tea consistency, if that's what they call it. So at this point I'm trying to get a wash first, but I think I might have made the ochre a bit too, I was too heavy-handed with it, and the other colors weren't, but it's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, so far, you know, so far so good. And you know, when they say trust the process, and it gets really ugly at first and then it gets better. Honestly, I feel like it just kept getting ugly at this point, and this is where I was like, oh no, I put in way too much, and I started trying to go in with more water to you know, fix things. And here I'm just like, screw it, I'll just cover the whole thing with you know, this ochre, and then at the end of the day I'm just using three colors. How harsh, how bad could it be, you know? So yeah, and here I started adding a bit more of that purple color just to kind of get that, you know, looking like the reference photo. I'm actually not you know, not bad on the sketch itself, you know. I feel I could have done better with the windows and the doors. I know they're all wonky, but again, I'm not someone who likes to try to paint exactly the same thing. So a part of me was really annoyed that I went in with the pencil or slash pen, because at this point I'm like, okay, then that means I must, you know. So I'm like, okay, you know, what am I doing? Am I going in with the windows? So here I kind of feel like I don't have time for you know, exactly painting what I see, because I could have just done the exact lines, and I don't want to do that. I just wanted to like go into it with the paint, you know. So I think again, I believe I went in a bit too early with the darker blue, but I am someone who just wanted to hurry up and finish. Again, you know, you might be one to think, oh, but enjoy the process. And I really am. I just, I just enjoy fast brush strokes. Does that make sense? I enjoy um, just speeding through things. And admittedly, choosing a smaller piece of paper or canvas to work on, I mean, it's really testing my patience, because if I choose one that's a bit too big, I mean, I would like to focus on the details and get the details down. It's not that I don't want to neglect them completely, but I just want to be able to like step back and take a look at, you know, what I've done and just enjoy it. So this is actually not looking so bad, you know, like if you look at it, it's just like, okay, you know, the paint, there's another thing that's forgiving about watercolor is that it dries down lighter. So there might actually still be room for, you know, fixing things. And here I'm like, what is this circle that I even tried to put in? Because I wanted to emulate what was there. So I started putting in details a bit too early. And then eventually I decided to like get rid of that. But because it was too dark, so I decided to go on top of that area with shading. Truthfully, this is where I kind of, how do I say this? Like, I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing here because I felt I'm starting to ruin this. Again, you know, these inner negative thoughts that come to you as a painter, I'm sharing with them out loud with you, but I'm like, you know what? What am I ruining exactly? It looks fine, you know? It looks fine. It looks like the golden hour. The sun is hitting it at the perfect angle. It's very similar to the reference photo, and this is where I start drawing in the little humans. This is the first time I draw in humans without like just straight up, you know, with paint. So this was nice. That last one there looks like a stick figure. The one on the left, there's this game that people are playing now where there's like stick figure-ish running around trying to hide. I don't know the name, what it's called, but I've been watching people play it, and you know, you have to look for them, and there's a timer ticking down, and you have to find them within the timer, and you know, you win if you find them and you lose if you don't. And anyway, so here you know, on all the way on the right here, it's just like both those two buildings, they're all outlined. Like it looks cool, like some kind of a cartoon style, you know, building from Gotham City. And by the way, I wanted to go in for a dark, moody, broody atmosphere. So this is why I went in for these colors, you know. But at the same time, I wanted to also bring out the sunset golden hour atmosphere. So, you know, I went in heavy with this yellow ochre. And then all the way to the left there, I kind of just started shading the building. I just wanted to get it out of focus. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that building anymore, you know? So now I went really heavy-handed with the buttery consistency, and now they just look like haunted houses at this point. They kind of look scary. So I'm like, oh God, you know, like, okay, let me just, you know. And again, for those seasoned painters out there, you know, what would you have done differently? I mean, this doesn't really look that bad. It looks, you know, it looks quite nice. Um, a little bit funky, maybe, you know, cartoony, I would say. And here I was starting to think, okay, how am I gonna fix this? Should I go in back with more details with the pen, which is what I started doing. But then I'm like, I don't really have time for that. So let me just leave it at that. You know, let me just leave it at that. So then I started removing the tape, and then I started thinking to myself, okay, this is nice, but I need to fix the shading at least, and maybe soften the edges. And this is where I started working, you know, on the edges, trying to soften them, making the windows look a bit more presentable and less of a haunted house like situation, um, you can still fix around with things with watercolor. You can still soften the edges, things like that. So at least the house looks a bit more architectural. And here I decided, you know what? Kharbana kharbana, we say in Arabic. It's already ruined. Not really, but that's the saying. So we might as well go in with the acrylic. And that's it, you know? Just a bit of contrast there with that building because I didn't like the shading there very much. So a little bit of contrast to kind of, with the lights. And there you have it.